Right, so as an update, it turns out I was never catastrophizing. I actually had a very accurate view of the situation, which is that everything sucks. And yeah, so if you remember that video, I don't even remember what videos I've made recently, to be honest, but I know I made one about catastrophizing, and it's because, I had come across some Centrelink stuff and gone on a bit of a spiral about, things early next year that are due to happen and just expecting everything to go wrong. Yeah, and so I was trying to tell myself that I was catastrophizing and I should just see how things are going to play out. Yeah, and then I think I made a follow-up video. I don't even remember what I responded to myself with that. But I guess this is another response because, of course, Centrelink have screwed me over. So, yeah, a few days after I looked at the Centrelink stuff and went on a spiral, they actually sent me a message saying they've booked a phone appointment for me, which is to talk about how they can help me and maybe sign a job plan, which means they're just going to make me sign a job plan and I will have no say in it. But this is a week before my exemption is due to end, or so I thought. So I don't know how much sense this is going to make to people overseas or outside the Centrelink system, but I'll go through it anyway. My GP has been giving me medical exemptions, but they only last 3 months, and so the one she gave me was due to expire on the 12th of December, which is now finished. Okay, but in October I had an employment services assessment, which is where they try and work out how many hours a week I can work. And it wasn't worth doing, I've got to say. Because, she said the minimum that she could assess me at was 15 hours a week, despite my GP and my psychologist saying, no, I cannot work that much. So she's put it as 15 anyway. And then she said she was going to put me with a better disability employment service, even though they're not going to call me disabled and put me on the disability pension, and I have no intention to apply for that anyway. But that's a bit of a mismatch, isn't it? Sending me to a disability employment service but not saying that I qualify as disabled. I don't know about that logic. Anyway, so she was going to send me to a better one and put me on a higher level of support where they would actually apparently help me instead of just shoving me off in a corner to do job search, as if I need any help doing job search. I have a job. The problem is that I'm too unwell to work enough hours to satisfy their requirements of me. But whatever. She said these guys are going to properly help me, so I thought, maybe I go along with it. But the other thing she did is she thought she was giving me a fresh exemption, but she was really just extending it out to January 12th. So I was expecting my exemption to last until January 12th. But a few days after I was going on that spiral, they said they're going to contact me on January 4th. Which I thought, that's odd. Did I already say that in this video? I don't even remember. I'm just going to go through it anyway. I thought, that's odd, but maybe they're just contacting me to prepare for the end of my exemption. But no, today I reported my earnings, as I'm required to do. And I noticed at the end of it that it was asking me, have I done all the requirements of my job plan, which I haven't seen in a very long time, and it only appears if you don't have an exemption. So that tipped me off that actually they've screwed up. And then I went into the whole system, and it's not very intuitive, but you can find a section where exemptions pop up. And I had to check my old screenshots just to make sure that I wasn't imagining it. And I found the thing, the exemption's not listed. So I know what happened is she didn't code it properly or didn't put it in the system properly, and so somehow the system just doesn't know that my exemption is meant to go until January 12th. And I still haven't received any paperwork about the outcome of that assessment either. I'm just taking her on her word. They're really bad with the paperwork they're supposed to send you. Even for a regular medical certificate, they don't tell me when they've accepted the certificate if I don't go looking into that section. And it took me, it's only in the past few months that I even found the thing that tells you that you have an exemption in the system, and you have to go, it's not designed to be easy. And yeah, in the past, the only way that I ever knew I had an exemption was when it was about to expire and they sent me a notification. They never sent me one to say that it has been put in place. So I would sit there being anxious about it. And like, I have a mental health problem. Is it smart to put me in a situation where I'm going to experience more anxiety? Like, there's no logic to it. So, yeah, anyway, clearly they didn't code it properly. And so this call on January 4th is actually to harass me because I'm not in a program yet or something. I don't know. They're going to make me sign something and send me off somewhere, and I'm going to have to explain to them, this lady fucked up. I'm not actually meant to do this for another week. And, I still need to talk to my doctor about whether or not that's good for me to do, or if I need more medical certificates. And now I also get to worry, like, because I did have that assessment and it didn't really go, it went about as well as she made it sound like she could make it. Whether or not I believe her, I still don't know. But it didn't go how I was hoping, how my doctor was hoping, how my psychologist was hoping. Yeah, what was I talking about that for? Yeah, I don't know if I'll be able to, like, do the program, especially when they just keep screwing up. And, yeah, I mean, like, I had been kind of open to the idea of doing the program with the, higher support levels and all that, but if this lady didn't properly code my exemption, how do I know that she's done any of the other things she said she was going to do? How do I know that she knows how to do her job? And isn't it ironic that, like, this isn't the first time Centrelink have made a mistake. They're constantly making mistakes, and I'm constantly having to chase them up about things that they've screwed up. And isn't it funny that they're telling me to get more work and, treating me like a dull bludger, like I'm doing this on purpose, like I have a mental illness on purpose just to get out of work and all that kind of stuff. They're telling me you need to work harder, and they can't even do their own jobs. Like, the fact that they have a job that they can't even do right, it's just like, how... I don't know how they manage to do those jobs and not feel bad about themselves, or, like, I would not work for such a place. It's set up so badly. It's set up to screw you over. Yeah, so basically, I guess the point is, I wasn't catastrophizing. I was working on past experience to predict the future, which is crap because, again, they have screwed up. And, like, in November, I got a letter saying, we're sorry we didn't respond to your complaint 6 months ago. And so I've sent in another complaint. But if they take another 6 months to look at it, like, I could be in hospital by then. And, I've put in 2 other complaints as well that haven't been looked at. They say, we're going to try and get to it in 10 business days. And neither of them have been got to in 10 business days. They'll probably be 6 months as well. And one of the fun ones is that, so I have to tell Centrelink when my income and assets change. So for me, like, I don't really have assets, but like shares. I have a few shares and they're on reinvestment programs. So they're constantly like getting 1 or 2 extra shares here and there. And then like my bank balance, because I try and save as much money as I can because I'm expecting them to screw me over. So I'm trying to save my money in case I need to go to a private mental hospital, and then I'll be able to pay for it instead of trusting Centrelink to help me with that. So yeah, the bank balance does go up, and I have to let them know every now and then, otherwise they freak out and go, where did all this money come from? And I'm like, you literally gave it to me. I've just been very careful about how I save it. Also I have a job. Yeah, and so I'm supposed to do that. If there's like any major changes, I'm supposed to tell them within 2 weeks. The thing is, when you put in your income and assets, they have to process it, and until they process it, they lock it so you can't make any more changes. And one of the complaints I made almost a month ago was that they hadn't unlocked it for 3 months. So I haven't been able to update it for 3 months, and it's not my fault if my record is inaccurate, because I can't update the thing. And what do they want me to do? Call for every single thing? Because, like in theory, I probably could make a phone call and get them to sort this out. But unless you get up and call as soon as the lines open, you will be sitting there on hold for an hour, and half the time the phone line drops out because it just sucks like that. And I'm already like, I don't have an anxiety disorder, but I am higher than average anxiety compared to, that's what average is, compared to average. I have higher than average anxiety levels, and the one thing that really spikes it for me is Centrelink bullshit. And so sitting on the phone, listening to their hold music, and just hoping that whoever is on the other end is competent and doesn't bounce me between different people, because I've had that happen before, telling me to call this person and then another person, and then they don't know what to do either, and like going backwards and forwards. Like, they're expecting me, as someone with some pretty serious mental illness problems at this point, no thanks to them, they're expecting me to sit on a phone for an hour, not knowing if I'm going to get through or if it's going to kick me out, and where, like, they want me to sit through all that, and I can't do it. Sometimes I can pick up enough to be able to get it done, but most of the time I'm just like about to have another meltdown. And half the time when I talk to them, sometimes I cry in a YouTube video. I pretty much always cry when I talk to Centrelink because they're just that stressful and that bad for me. So that's another thing as well. I don't want to call and then end up just, So yeah, that's the only other way I know of to get that sorted, is to call them. But I have to get up early in the morning before my brain even starts functioning. Oh, and that's the other thing about this January 4th appointment, is they made it at like 9:15 in the morning on a Wednesday. I usually work on a Tuesday and then don't function well at all the next day, especially not in the morning. And I've told them this multiple times. I've told them, don't call me first thing in the morning, and don't call me on the day I work or the day after I work. I've given them the specific times and all that, and they just keep ignoring it, and they just keep scheduling these appointments when I've said, and they ask for things in complaints as well, when can we contact you? And even with those where I've specifically said, and they've specifically asked, half the time they call me on a day or time that I told them not to anyway. And it's just like, I'm doing my part to navigate the system, and also I'm trying to fix my life. I do have a job and I'm doing my best to keep it, with no help from Centrelink. They're actually, by making my mental health worse, they're actually making it harder for me to stay in work. Sorry, did I mention that because they scheduled that appointment on a Wednesday morning, I had to cancel my Tuesday shift the day before just so I would function? Because the only way to reschedule it is to call the line that you could sit on for an hour and never get through to someone. That's the only way to reschedule it. So I'm just like, I'll just cancel my shift. It's easier like that. My boss is fine. He gets it. So, yeah, I'm trying to do my part. I've spent my whole year since the schizoid diagnosis, I've spent my whole year trying to figure out my issues. Like, it was hard to find a psychologist to see in the first place. I even approached universities saying, can't find anyone. Do you have a research program at least? I will do it. Here I am, that one random schizoid who doesn't mind coming out about it. The one random schizoid who will go forward and be like, research me. Because, most schizoids aren't as open as I am, and they're all like, nah, we got nothing. So to find anyone, also looking at psychologists, when I mention schizoid, they're like, oh, we don't have the expertise for this. So to find someone who would take me in, who had books open to like actually see me, that was hard enough. And then, so now we get into more of the psychology aspect. Is my psychologist, I was under the impression that she was going to be away for 6 months, but now the clinic is sending me emails saying it sounds like she's actually leaving, so they're doing a full-on handover thing, except that no one at the clinic does the therapies that the dissociation specialist recommended, so if it's more of the same, what's the point? But so my regular psychologist is just leaving, as far as I know, so... And then I've got I'll have to go on another waiting list for someone. I'm on a waiting list for the dissociation specialist, but that might not be until the end of next year. So in the meantime, what do? I'm trying to sort out all this stuff. I've tried to find new activities to do to get me out of the house. I've tried to improve my health, but there's only so long I can sustain it. Like, for a while I was going for longer walks than I normally go, and then I just got worn out and I stopped being able to do that. Yeah, so like, I try hard. I've been trying to fix my gut issues. I've been taking the Yakult probiotic, which partly it does taste good, so that's part of my motivation to do it. But, I'm trying a probiotic, and one that doesn't exacerbate the whole lactose issues. And, I tried yogurt. Yogurt's gross, so I wasn't able to get past that. But I'm trying that, and I've been trying Metamucil, but that's not helping either. So, I'm trying to get enough fiber in my diet, and even the hardcore Metamucil stuff doesn't seem to be having any impact. I did the poo test. I did my full 20 sessions under Medicare of psychology, so one with the specialist, 19 with the regular psychologist, made no progress. And then, I'm trying to keep working as best I can, despite everything that I'm going through and not wanting to get up some mornings for work. And, I make it through the workday and then I crash hard the next day. I can't function. I'm trying all this stuff, right? And Centrelink is just getting in the way. They've done this to me before, and again, it's called mutual obligations. Mutual obligations doesn't just mean you give me money and I have to do all this extra shit. It means you do all the things that you're legally supposed to do for me, which includes processing my bloody income and assets so that I can actually do my requirement to report them. And then, properly handling paperwork, telling me when my exemptions are and coding things properly. Like, that's Centrelink's part. Like, mutual obligations, it's not just about giving me the money, it's all the other stuff. And they're dropping the ball on that. And it's so hard to find anyone. They must have really high staff turnover and really bad training because no one knows anything. One of the reasons I put in online complaints is I realized when I call the complaints line, you get someone who isn't prepared for the complaint that you've got, and so they don't know what to do. Whereas if I write it out, then someone has a chance to look at it and find the right person without me having to sit on hold forever and ever, amen. And then also, I'm just... some days cannot handle the phone call thing. I just can't fucking do it. So if they do as much as they can behind the scenes and then call me, that's better, even if I have to wait longer. And in the past, they used to be really prompt, but lately they're dropping the ball on everything that they need to process. It's just not working. I have seen one rumor that they were focusing on all the flood victims, getting stuff out to them, which, great. I get it. Other people need a lot of help right now, but I'm still here trying to do the right thing, and they are preventing me from doing that. Like YouTube finally sent me some ad money and I need to report that, and I can't because they won't unlock my account to be able to do it. And I'm trying to tell you guys that I got extra money. I'm required to do that and you won't let me. Mutual obligations, they think all they have to do is, not cut off my payment, but actually there's other things they need to do for me to be able to do my part. And then, I'm trying so hard with my mental health, and then they do more of this shit, and it sends me in a spiral, and when I spiral, it makes it that much harder for me to stay in work, because now I'm contemplating, if I do TMS, as I understand it, depending on the program that you're prescribed, you can end up doing 4 weeks and, daily appointments to have, magnets put on your head and all that, which means for probably 4 weeks I wouldn't be able to work, which, great. And I don't even know if that's appropriate for me, because I know it's got some evidence for depression, but I have depression influenced by schizoid personality disorder, and the schizoid thing seems to change the way that depression works and the way treatments work. So I don't even know if that stands a chance with me. If, it works for normal people with depression, I don't know if it's worth doing. I'm probably going to do it anyway, because what are my options? Other options, inpatient treatment, but that sounds horrible as well. I've been depression Googling that and finally found someone in Sydney. Oh no, that was in Queensland. I found someone in Sydney who's been through stuff, but I found someone in Queensland who's seen the difference between the public and the private system, and none of that helps me. And then, I understand it better at least, and I think the public system I probably want to avoid, depending on how bad I get, but the private system doesn't sound very appropriate for me either. I remember when I was, like, before I got the schizoid diagnosis and I was trying to understand it more, like, this is probably the week before I got the diagnosis, so I'd been thinking about it going, oh shit, maybe I need to talk to my doctor. I came across a YouTube video where the girl was talking about having done group therapy sessions, and that's how she realized that she just didn't have the same problems as everyone else, and I can see that happening with me as well. So if I ended up in a private hospital and doing group therapy anyway, then I have to sit through other people's problems, and I'm a bit concerned that either I will bullshit my way through it, which is how I get through most of life, if the situation is just like, you know, people will ask me, how are you doing? And I just reflexively say good. Like my neighbor asked me the other day, even though I was super not good, I just say it automatically and, you know, sort of go blank. YouTube, I can talk to the lifeless camera, but yeah, real people, I shut down real fast. Either that will happen, or I'll pull a House, you know, Gregory House, and he went into a psychiatric hospital, and the way he handled group therapy, that'll probably be me. I'll probably say the wrong thing and get kicked out. Just because I don't have a lot of time for people's, like, for normal people problems. What I noticed with people who've, like, I watch people who've been to therapy, like those inpatient treatment groups, particularly in Australia, mostly private hospitals, and the ones who had good experiences with it all say about how the social situation helped them. And for me, I'm like, oh, I'm fucked then, because, you know, like, I can make friends, people seem to like me, I don't even have to do anything, but does that mean I enjoy the interaction? There are some really nice people out there who like me, but I just can't stand them. I feel kind of bad because they're sweet and they're trying, but I can't stand them. So, and now anyone who knows me is going to sit there thinking, oh shit, is she talking about me? Because I have said things in YouTube videos before, and then someone who I didn't know was watching was saw it and was like, oh no, she's talking about me, and I'm like, this is a reason I don't name names. It's kind of fun to keep you wondering, but also chances are, statistically, that I'm not talking about you. And the people who I am talking about, it probably wouldn't even occur to them that I mean them, because that's how they are. Oh dear. Anyway, yeah, I thought that inpatient treatment might help me in terms of, like, you know, having psychiatrists, psychologists keeping an eye on me, trying stuff, and in that sort of supervised situation, especially if I have to do medication again. But then I look at the reality and all this talk about group therapy, and I'm just like, oh shit, the people who get the most out of it are the ones who go for the social stuff. Other people have, it sounds like they haven't had good experiences. It sounds like overseas, though, some people are forced into this and force-fed medication, which I don't know that we do in Australia. Unless you're, like, really bad, which I don't think would happen to me, but, yeah, I don't know. Anyway, so I'm feeling pessimistic about the inpatient idea because it just doesn't sound like it's set up for me. And the dissociation specialist never sent me the names of the hospitals that she recommended. She said there's only 2 in Sydney she recommends and never told me what they were, and I have been too tired to chase it up and stress the point, but I guess if I get really bad, I'll send her a message saying, hey, you know how I'm on your waiting list? I'm doing really badly. Which hospitals should I go to? Maybe then she'd respond, but, yeah, anyway, so I'm really pessimistic about next year. Really, like, what can I do? Especially because regular psychology doesn't help anyway. Yeah, and the specialist is just booked out, and my regular psychologist is going away, and Centrelink is trying to fuck me over, and I don't know if TMS is even worth trying. I don't want to try more medications because of how badly I've reacted in the past. Clearly my body doesn't process things right, or I just have very low side effect tolerance. I don't know. I wonder if it's because I'm a small female and maybe the dosage, but then we did try really small doses and I still got fucked up, so I don't know how to solve that. I do think I need some kind of medication, but yeah, it's not worth the side effects, which just completely erase the point of it. What other options do I have? There's not a lot out there, and I'm in my mid-30s struggling with this shit, and it's just, I'm so tired of trying. I've spent my whole year trying really hard to have a positive outlook, trying different things, and it's just, I'm getting nowhere. People like the things that I do. I've had a chat this evening with my brother who dropped by, and also My dad, actually, he doesn't know what to do, but at least he like sat through me talking about stuff. And but yeah, no, talking to my brother, not my disabled brother, the other brother. Oh shit, why did I bring him up? I forget now. What was I talking about? Oh no, I lost my train of thought. Hello, what was I on about? Oh no, I've completely forgotten. So treatments, what can I do? I've lost it, and I'm not going to edit the video, so maybe check in the video description, or maybe I'll pin a comment if I remember what I was going to say. But yeah, I don't know what to do next year. Things are pessimistic. Yeah. Also, unrelated to mental health and Centrelink, is this video, I really hope this video syncs up the audio and the visual better, because I did make an adjustment, and I'm hoping that's enough to fix that problem so that I don't have to edit things. But yeah, no, I think the point of the video was that Centrelink have failed me again, so I wasn't catastrophizing, I was accurately judging the situation, and my mental health options for next year are really crap. I've tried all year so hard to just do things. Oh, that was what I was going to mention, my brother. Yeah, my brother mentioned, like, you know, he looks at the stuff I do, and I'm actually, you know, I'm doing a whole lot of good stuff, and he looks at the bonsai that I make, and aren't they great, and all this kind of stuff, and I'm like, yeah, the things I do are great, but I'm not getting the benefit from it. You know, I keep trying all this stuff, and I don't know, it doesn't make me feel better. It's just things that I do because I don't know what else I'm doing. Like even YouTube, I don't know, I think sometimes I'm just doing it because I don't know what else to do with myself, really, and that's, you know, YouTube is a thing I used to do, so let's keep doing it. And I don't know, documenting some of the stuff that I go through is helpful because I can, now I'm starting to get depersonalized again, but yeah, documenting some of the stuff that I go through, because I forget so easily, and so, I don't know, I've got this diary I've been keeping for my psychologist, and planning to give that up on Festivus, because that's when she said, you know, she's on holiday after that, so there's no point. But I'm sort of wondering, like, maybe I should keep some kind of a diary anyway, whether that's YouTube or whether I start, you know, putting small updates on Facebook again, I don't know, but yeah, like, even within a day, it's so hard to remember what I did at the start of the day. Then it's hard enough to remember what I'm saying in a YouTube video. Yeah, anyway, I guess that's a bit of a ramble. I'm so tired. I've tried so hard this year. This is probably the hardest I've tried with my mental health, apart from when I tried working with that psychiatrist and going through so many antidepressants and also an ADHD drug and lithium. Like, I tried so many things. But this year, like, I've tried so many things more on the psychology side of things. So, you know, even with my psychologist, we went through so many different kinds of psychotherapy. I did my full 20 sessions, which is double what we used to get. I'm going to be halved next year, but I've investigated, like, research programs, and I actually did send in a pitch to ABC Everyday Perspectives. I don't know if they've seen it, and I don't know if they'll be interested, but I was like, hey, I have a story to tell. Because I'm probably the only schizoid they've ever had come across their desk, but yeah, I don't know if they'll bite, because autism is what's in fashion at the moment, not personality disorders. Anyway, no, like, I'm constantly trying stuff. I don't want to be a schizoid spokesperson, but I went in and said, hey, I have this disorder. Do you want me to write an article, kind of thing? I'm doing it anyway because I don't know what else to do, and I don't know how to get help, and I feel like, because I haven't hurt myself and ended up in hospital that way, I feel like I'm never going to get the support that I need. I feel like, and this is going to go over half an hour now because I just thought of another tangent, but yeah, no, I feel like the system is waiting for me to end up in hospital before they'll actually do anything for me. So, you know, I think I've mentioned this before, my psychologist wondered if I could get extra sessions of therapy on the NDIS, which, for those of you outside Australia, the National Disability Insurance Scheme, which is what Mikey is on for his issues, and, you know, he gets quite a lot of support because he's very obviously disabled. But she wondered if I could use that to get extra therapy sessions because they have borderline clients who have that. But apparently it's easier to get on it if you've been in hospital. And so since I haven't, well, I don't get that. There's no other way that I know of to get extra sessions unless I just pay for it out of my pocket or Centrelink's pocket if they'll actually, you know, not keep screwing me over. Yeah, I feel like everything's waiting for me to end up in hospital before I get any real help, and that is not a fun thought. It shouldn't have to come to that. I've mentioned that before. You know, same thing with like Centrelink. They won't take me seriously until I try something, which I just don't want to go there. But what frustrates me, like, you know, because I don't have the right disorder as well. I know with like eating disorders, you get the 40 sessions. I think I've mentioned all this stuff before somewhere else, so I won't go on. But yeah, I have the wrong disorder to get the right level of support. I'm also, in real life, I'm too good at hiding, you know, that I'm actually not doing well. Yeah. What was I gonna say? Sorry, I'm starting to pause more now because my brain is... I'm mostly recovered from being sick, but I didn't sleep well last night, so I still needed a 2-hour nap in the middle of the day today, and I'm still getting, you know, if I went for a walk with my dog and still got the head squeeze and dizziness kind of thing, so I'm not 100% yet, but, yeah, no, I have the wrong disorder. Where was I going with that? They're waiting for me to do something. There's no in-between solutions for someone like me. There's no research really on how to treat schizoid. There's not really anything proven. Stop recommending bupropion. You can't get it in Australia unless you have a smoking addiction, and you can't get it long term. So just shut up about that. Thanks, guys. And you know, your pet drug doesn't mean that it's going to work for me, especially my biology has clearly rejected a lot of drugs before, so yeah, there's probably nothing that they can prescribe to me that's going to help. Anyway, no. Oh, I thought I was going in a direction and I don't remember what it was, and now I'm going to have to talk through it and extend this video even more for my brain to think of it again. Yeah, what autisms and fashion, personality disorders aren't. Maybe I should just end the video before I hurt myself trying to think of things. Yeah, I don't know. And the whole thing about, you know, Centrelink trying to put me on, or trying to convince me to apply for disability, and I've really lost the plot of this video. I think I had like heaps more to say, but sorry, I'm fiddling with stuff. I think I have heaps more to say, and this will just go on forever, so I think I'm just gonna stop. Where's my Patreon thing? My cult members and my sect on screen. Scribe, Chronicler got the proper welding goggles, like not the cybergoth toy ones, the proper welding goggles, so that's fun. Yeah, I don't know, just stuff is crap, and I'm trying really hard not to go in another spiral, but you know, it's difficult. I can block this stuff out for a certain amount of time, and then I'll just crash. And yeah, I don't know, probably one day when I crash is when someone will finally shove me off to a hospital or something. But in the meantime, I'm trying not to go there because, you know, then I won't be able to work with that. You know, if I'm in a hospital, I won't be able to work, and I don't know how long I would be there. And then who's going to look after Hope, because my family aren't. Yeah, I don't know that. Mum sneaks him scraps even though I told her not to, and he's got a sensitive stomach, and anyway, blah blah blah. I've got so much that I could say, but I'm gonna stop there, and fuck knows. It's a bit early for the airing of grievances, but there you are. I was thinking of going to a gig on Festivus night, but all this stuff has happened, and now my state of mind has shifted back to me being just not wanting to be here. I think I still have time to watch some Dexter before I go to bed, so that's what I'm going to do. Bye.